We are going to finish off Acts chapter 27 today and move into Acts 28 today. And I didn't want to have to redraw the whole beautiful boot. Oh, that's a boot. I didn't want to redraw it, so I just put up a piece of paper on the whiteboard that has Acts 27. So I don't think we're going to draw much more about this map today. We might get to erase it some. We are really close to finishing up the book of Acts. This is pretty exciting. Here's a question. Don't answer it yet, but think about this as we're doing our class and as we're drawing, seasick people. What is Acts about? What's the point of Acts? And when we get to the end of Acts, do we find out an answer to that point? Just think about that. All right. So we are in Acts chapter 27. And we're in verse 14. We're in verse 27 where it talks about the 14th. All right. So he had that dream or the vision, right? Where the angel said, fear not. And so he tells them to be of good cheer. So, but when the 14th night was come, this is the 14th night after this vision. So they are really in this boat, and you can draw them like with their arms hanging outside of the boat, kind of sad, and maybe even like sick on the side of the boat, like, oh, my aching head, right? And there's the boat, and it's the waves. We could draw the waves like the wavy waves and like this and splashing, and they're just kind of sad, right? Because they've been in this boat for so long, right? All right. When it was the 14th night, when it was come, as we were driven to and fro in the Sea of Adria, about midnight, the sailors surmised that they were drawing near to some country, and they sounded and found 20 fathoms. That means they were testing how deep the water is, okay? And it was 20 fathoms deep. And after a little while, they sounded again, and it found 15 fathoms. So if it used to be 20 fathoms deep, and now that it's 5 less, found at 15 fathoms, that means that there's like, it was really deep down here, but it's slowly climbing up to where there's probably gonna be an island and a tree or something, right? Does that make sense?
Yay. They're coming to land.
They're coming to land. Do you think they can see the land?
No.
No, I think that Luke would have said, and then we saw the land, but no, he doesn't see the land. So all they know is that they're in a storm, but it's getting a little bit less shallow. And fearing lest haply we should be cast ashore on rocky ground, I drew a really nice smooth beach, right? But what are they afraid of? Rocks. And so if there's big rocky rocks in the way, what's going to happen to the ship when it's slowly coming up to this?
Ship won't live,
it's going to explode. Okay, no, it's not going to explode, but it's going to go blah! And I'm drawing an explosion, and you guys know that that's not what would happen, right? But I'm just trying to say, like, they were afraid that the ship would break apart and they would not be happy. And fearing lest haply they should be cast ashore on the rocky ground, they let go of 4 anchors from the stern. They let go 4 more anchors and wished for the day. What do you think it means, wished for the day?
Like, man, I hope it's...
Hoped that they wouldn't die in the night.
Yeah. I hope I see the sunrise, right? And as the sailors were seeking to flee out of the ship and had lowered the boat into the sea. Wait, they're in a boat. What does it mean they're lowering a boat when they're in a boat?
It's like
a little boat on the side.
Yeah, like their extra one, their escape pod, right? They had lowered it into the sea under the color as though they would lay out anchors from the foreship. And Paul said to the centurion and to the soldiers, except these abide in the ship, you cannot be saved. So who was trying to escape?
The centurion.
No, the sailors were trying to escape. So here's the boat, okay? And it's in the water. And these guys were trying to hop into the like a little rowboat. That's my guess, okay? And what does Paul say about the sailors?
You can't.
So you're in this ship, you'll die.
Yeah, if they don't stay with us, we're all gonna die. So did Paul want those guys to escape like that?
No.
No.
No. I think that it might have been a little bit selfish. They're like, we're gonna save ourselves and we don't want to try to save you. It might have been something like that. And so here's a guy, I'm gonna show him, he's like trying to jump over into the ship, right? And here's Paul saying, he's got a frowny face, saying, no, okay? And so unless they stay in the ship, you can't be saved. Then the soldiers cut away the ropes of the boat and let her fall off. So the soldiers cut a way for them to escape, didn't they? Yeah. Now everyone's in the boat together. And while the day was coming on, Paul besought them all, Paul asked them all or begged them all to take some food, saying, this day is the 14th day that you wait and continue fasting. What does fasting mean?
Not eating food.
Not eating.
Not eating.
They haven't eaten for 14 days, having taken nothing. Therefore, I beseech you to take some food. Is he saying, let's have a giant Thanksgiving feast?
No.
No, because they don't really have a lot of food. Remember how we said that basically they had no more food? Maybe they had a little bit, but they were saving it, right? So he's saying, take a little bit of food, for this is for your safety. For there shall not a hair perish from the head of any one of you. And when he had said this, and had taken bread, he gave thanks to God in the presence of all, and he broke it and began to eat. Well, let's
They're breaking their fast.
Yeah, they're breaking fast. They're eating breakfast. So here he is. He's eating, and he's just kind of grom. He's got a loaf of bread here, and he's just sitting. I'm gonna have it that he's sitting, right? And he's just sitting. He's got another loaf of bread, and he's eating it. And what's going on around him? I'll draw my little thingy here. What's going on? He's sitting in a boat and he's eating some food. But what's going on around him?
A storm.
A storm! Don't you think it might have looked weird for Paul? I'm just gonna eat some food. Don't you think that like he would have to be very calm and brave to show that he was gonna do this and trusting in God? I think that this is a neat moment of trusting in God. And I think it probably helped all of them to feel better, right? To see Paul's trust. There's a good way that we can help people by being calm in difficult circumstances. And I think Paul was trying to be calm in this difficult circumstance. Then they were all of good cheer. What did it look like when they saw Paul?
They were happy.
They were happy. They were all of good cheer. This put them all in a good mood. I mean, who doesn't get in a good mood when you get to eat bread? And they themselves also took food. And they were all in the ship, about 260 souls. Whoa, how many is that? Can you guys do that math?
Mine says 276.
Yeah, that's right. 276 what? People. People are souls.
Wow.
So this is a big ship. And so 276 people. Think about it. If all the sailors got into that little rowboat to escape, what's going to happen to all the rest of those people? Paul's really trying to protect them. That's a lot of people. And when they had eaten enough, they lightened the ship, throwing out the wheat unto the sea. Man, they just keep throwing stuff to the sea, don't they? You can draw a bag of wheat, which kind of looks like a pillow.
How about some milk?
I doubt they had any. They threw the wheat out into the sea. And when it was day, they knew not the land. What does that mean?
No idea where
They didn't know where they were.
Yeah, they didn't know this land. But they perceived a certain bay with a beach. And they took counsel whether they could drive the ship upon it. And casting off the anchors, more anchors, they left them in the sea and at the same time loosing the bands of the rudders and hoisting up the foresail to the wind, they made for the beach. And so you can draw, here is, what, can you guys describe what they're trying to do with the boat now?
Crash
Get to the beach.
Yeah, and kind of crash land it onto the beach, right? So you can draw-
If they're trying to
crash
do that-
land it.
If
Yeah.
they're trying to do that, it probably means it's not rocky.
Right, they saw a beachy area, right? And so they are trying to get that ship up. And what did they do with the sail? They've got the sail up again. Do you think it's wise to have a sail up when there's a lot of storming winds?
No.
No. So I think what they did was they took that sail down for a long while there was a storm raging, right? But now they say, well, let's use the sail and let's see if we can get where we need to go. Does that make sense? So they're trying this last ditch effort to get to the land. They're doing what they can to get there. And I'm gonna decorate this sail with some red stripes. I like sails with red stripes, and I don't know why. There we go. So they're trying to do it, and then you have wind. I'll draw wind blowing. I'll do purple wind. I don't know why the wind's purple, but it's purple today. There, and it's just dry.
Purple.
Okay. But lighting upon a place where two seas met, they ran the vessel aground. There's them running it aground. And the foreship struck and remained unmovable. The front of the ship was stuck, but the stern began to break up by the violence of the waves. What is the stern of the ship?
The back.
The back.
The
Yeah, so the front of the ship is stuck solid. And what's happening to the back of the ship?
It's slowly breaking.
breaking.
It's breaking apart. Does this sound like a good kind of boat to be in?
No.
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 So here it is. This is it's stuck. I'll draw it like on a rock. All right. So there's a rock, and let's say it's kind of stuck on these rocks. And yeah, it's gonna sink. It's gonna have all these problems, right? And so there's the waves, and it's doing all this, and you can draw wooden planks breaking up and shooting into the sky maybe, and the wind is blowing them around and making it hard. Okay, so is this the kind of boat that you want to just kind of sit back and enjoy the view in?
No.
No. And the soldiers' council, their idea, was to kill the prisoners, lest any of them could swim out and escape. Uh-oh. What's Paul?
Prisoner.
A prisoner.
Paul's a prisoner. They're gonna kill him.
No, he's gonna get.
No, they're not. He's gonna get to Rome.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Let's see how it happens. But the centurion, desiring to save Paul, stayed them from their purpose and commanded that they which could swim should cast themselves overboard and get first to the land, and the rest, some on planks, and some other on things from the ship. And so it came to pass that they all escaped to the land. So you can draw people swimming. There's like a swimming arm, right? You could draw somebody holding onto a plank as hard as you can, right? And you can draw the wooden plank that they're floating on. Holding on to stuff. You guys have maybe seen movies or something like this where you've seen people stuck out at sea, right? And they're trying to float and trying to survive. Have you guys ever been to the lake or to a beach?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Have you ever done it in a storm where the waves are trying to kill you?
No.
Ah,
No.
No.
Let me.
Yeah.
She wouldn't let me go into the very edge.
So this is a really, really rough day at the beach. They're trying to get to the beach. Woo-hoo. But how did they all do it? They all escaped safe to the land. Now here's the really cool thing. Here's the really cool thing. You know, it was God said that he was going to make sure Paul got there, right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who did God save though?
All the people.
Everybody.
All of them.
Everybody. Let's remember that. God loves everybody. And this is a story that shows it. He loves everybody. And when he takes care of us, guess who else he takes care of? Other people.
Even if they don't believe in him.
All right, chapter 28. And when we were escaped, then we knew that the island was called Melita. The island is called Melita. So let's find this on the map. I am doing the one with the red line. All right, so here we have the Big Boot, Triangle Sicily, and Melita. So beneath Triangle Sicily, we have, actually, where exactly? About like that.
I thought it was called Malta.
Malta? Yeah,
I think that's
the modern
name.
yeah, the names kind of change through time on some of them. And so this is where we ended last time, right? And so I'll draw some more seasick adventures, but they get there, right? They get there. Is it a very big place? No. It's one little island in the middle of a big sea. They're really lucky God made that island, I think.
Of all places, they landed there.
And the barbarians, now here's a funny thing. The Greek word here really is barbarians. When you hear the word barbarian today, what do you think of? What does a barbarian look like?
Ancient.
Does he look like this? Oh yes, I'm reading my books and I'm understanding all of the things and I am a barbarian.
He's like,
No, more like a big, tough
I'm a
bully.
barbarian.
I'm more
I'm a
imagine.
barbarian.
I've heard the thing like, he's
Scottishman.
a barbarian.
And so this is what the word barbarian means. It literally comes from this. Back in ancient times, if they met some people that were like way out from the country or people that they didn't know at all, other nations, did they understand those languages? No.
No.
And when those people talk, it's just like we say in English, blah, 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 blah. Apparently, back then they used to go bar, 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 bar. And they were called barbarians. And so it's not, and it could be some associated with the beards too. So it isn't that they landed on an island with people with clubs that are beating people. No, the word barbarian here means they landed on an island of people they didn't know, outsiders. Okay,
Like
so
strangers.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
one like the barbarians in the Sticky Cheese fight in that VeggieTales movie,
I haven't seen that one.
Scottish or someplace around England.
Yeah. Well, they didn't get that far. They're only about to hear. But yeah, I get what you're saying. All right. So when we say barbarian, it doesn't mean that these are weirdos. Okay. And when the barbarians showed us no common kindness,
Uh-oh.
I mean, I think that's a Lukey moment because they did show them kindness. Oh, maybe it's not common kindness. They went above and beyond, maybe, for they kindled a fire and received us all because of the present rain and because of the cold. So it wasn't that these were stupid, dumb barbarians. Ook, ook, ook. Is that what they were like?
No.
No, they didn't just do normal common kindness. These are nice people. And they had ears and faces and hair just like us. And they made a fire.
They really are misunderstood.
Did the barbarians set Paul on fire?
No.
No. Isn't that kind of one of the myths that when you travel to a foreign land, oh no, if I meet an islander, the islander is going to cook me. Isn't that one of the joke stories that we tell each other, right? Were these really bad people?
No.
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 They were just people they didn't know. This is an important lesson, okay? Just because you don't know somebody doesn't mean they go ook, ook, ook. Doesn't mean they're monsters. It just means you don't
Very
know
true.
them, okay? You just don't know them yet. Okay, so these are not monster barbarians, for crying out loud. They're very good people. Maybe they don't understand the language very well, but they're good people, right? Okay. But when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, all right, so here's Paul.
This is the one where Paul gets a snake bite.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Dang, what's wrong with Paul's head? Let me draw Paul. Maybe I'll just read it and I'll draw. When Paul gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, a viper came out by reason of the heat and fastened onto his hand. All right, so here we have Paul. And I'll draw him smiling, even though as he's throwing these sticks into the fire, there's the sticks. They're weird looking sticks, apparently. What jumped out of the sticks and bit on his hand?
A viper, a snake.
A viper, a snake. And I'll draw it as a green one. All right, now, the last time you had a viper jump out of sticks and bite onto your hand, has that ever, oh, look, my eraser acting up.
Ever.
Do you want that to happen to you?
No.
No.
It doesn't sound fun, does it? Do you think the Islanders wanted that to happen to them or to Paul?
No.
Nope.
No. All right, so let me draw him green so we know that he's Paul. Of course, you guys know he's Paul. And when the barbarians, again, not ook people, but nice people, when the barbarians saw the beast hanging from his hand, they said to one another, "No doubt, this man is a murderer, whom though he has escaped from the sea, yet justice has not suffered to live." Explain this. I'm going to read it again and think about this. No doubt this man, they're looking at Paul, no doubt Paul is a murderer, because even though he escaped from the sea, justice isn't letting him live. What do they think about Paul?
The bad
I think
guy.
he's a terrible murderer and he's being punished by this vapor bite.
Yeah.
So who is punishing him? God, either the God or gods. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Think back
Lowercase
to the
g
Greek and
god.
Roman times, there were gods of the sea and gods of the land and gods of making sure there was a God of justice, okay? And so these people said, wow, he was saved. That must mean the gods like him. And then the snake bites him immediately. Maybe they don't like him. Does that make sense? I think that this is a really cool moment. I think it's a cool moment here. My translation even capitalizes the word justice with a capital J, saying that they might be talking about the God justice, the name justice. Isn't that curious? Albeit, he shook off the beast into the fire. Oh my goodness. Paul did not like that snake at all. And where did he put that snake?
In the fire.
In the fire.
Fire.
And took no harm. But they expected that he would have swollen or fallen down dead suddenly. But when they were long in expectation and beheld nothing amiss came to him, they changed their minds and said that he was a god. Only a god could get bit by a snake and not die.
Or maybe only a god could make a snake bite him and not die.
Yeah, this is kind of cool, right? So I think this is what is happening. I think God is protecting Paul with a miracle. And then when they think Paul must be a god, has that happened before when Paul did a miracle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, not again.
But it kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Now, do you think Paul's going to say, "Oh, why, yes, I am a god"?
No.
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 He's going to correct
I'm
it.
gonna say the opposite.
He's going to correct it. And so I don't want to say it's a good thing they think he's a god, but you know what? It's going to lead to a good conversation.
About Jesus.
They're going to have a good
So,
talk. All right, so let's see what
even when
happens.
a snake bites him, he's going to be preaching God.
Yeah, yep. But is there think about this. Is there a gospel message connected to snakes?
Yes.
What?
Satan is a snake. And Jesus will use his heel to tread
Yeah.
on him.
Oh, right.
Jesus, the snake, and that the seed of woman would eventually step on that snake's head and kill it? Is that what Jesus does to the power of Satan?
Yeah. This time though,
Yeah.
he has to fall into
So there is a gospel message connected to snakes.
Mr. James,
Mm-hmm.
and in the first book of Genesis, the first chapter of Genesis,
Mm-hmm.
Satan came as a snake, and when Moses threw his staff down and it turned into a snake.
Yeah, there's another snake story. That's really interesting. Good catch. I like that connection. All right, let's keep reading. Good connections, guys. Now, in the neighborhood of that place were lands belonging to the chief man of the island named Publius. And so we'll draw Publius. I'm going to make him a jolly old soul, with like a smile that goes a million miles, and just kind of a fun beardo and a round face and ears that stick out like that. And there. Publius, he's just a jolly old soul with round eyes and just a round body. I'll just give him a really round body. Here he is.
He's short and stout.
Holding his hands like this because he's Publius, and he's a leader, so I'll give him a ribbon tag. There's his "I am the leader" thing. And there he is. He also has feet, very tiny feet. Publius, who received us and entertained us for 3 days courteously. When it says entertained us, do you think that means he sang songs?
No, he like gave them food and stuff.
Yeah. So here I'm going to have his third hand holding up a plate full of grapes, right? And maybe a zucchini, because some people like zucchini. I don't know if you guys like zucchinis.
I like
It's not
noodles.
my favorite, but some people like it. And I think it was Publius's favorite was zucchini. All right. And it was so that the father of Publius lay sick of fever and dysentery, unto whom Paul entered in and prayed, and laying his hands on him, healed him. So now we have a bed, right? And here's the old man. He's old. He's got the bags under his eyes, and there's his nose, and he's got a sick, upset mouth, and his beard is all straggly on the floor because it shows how old he is. And he's got his hand on his belly because dysentery is a belly ache kind of disease. And there's his feet, right? And there he is on his bed.
Oh, he's skinny. Oh, he's so skinny.
Yeah, well, he used to be a marathon runner, maybe. And here's Paul, and he's praying. That's his praying hand, not his preaching hand. Don't get praying hands and preaching hands confused. I always do, I guess. And there he is, and he's praying about him, and he heals him. Of course Paul will, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a good guy. Yep. Just like you and I need to be, huh? We all need to be like that. All right. And when this was done, the rest also which had diseases in the island came and were cured. So you can draw a line of people coming up. Is Paul going to heal them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he
Here he
loves
is.
everyone.
He's such a good guy. Imagine, right? This island of Malta, Melita. He probably preached to everyone on that island. It might become a whole island of believers or something. That'd be cool.
Maybe you can draw it green or
All right. And also they had their diseases cured, whom also honored us with many honors. And when we sailed, they put on board such things as we needed. So who's still with them?
Luke.
Yep. Luke is still with them. And they sail from this island, Malta, Melita. And I'll draw it. There's a guy, and there's a guy, and they're getting in the boat. But now we have to draw the waves what way?
Calm.
I'm gonna draw them really straight. They were probably wavier than this, right? But you get the idea. This is gonna be a nicer trip, I think. And then I can draw their brown boat. And this is where we're gonna end the story today. We'll pick up next time when they get to. All right, no, we'll do this. We'll do this. And after 3 months, we set sail in a ship of Alexandria, which wintered in the island, whose sign was of the twin brothers. And touching at Syracuse, we tarried there 3 days. And from thence we made a circuit and arrived at Rhegium. And after 1 day, a south wind sprang up. And on the second day, we came to Puteoli, where we found brethren. What's brethren mean?
Brothers of the church.
Yeah,
Brothers
Christians.
people.
And were entreated to tarry with them 7 days. And so we came to Rome. So we can draw, here are some Christians that they meet, and their hands are up because they're excited, right? And here's Paul, and his hands are up, and he's excited. And he gets a week with them, right? Smiley faces. So these are some Christians that they get to be with. But we also have some cities to put on the map. I'm going to go ahead and put it on my map. I don't know if you guys have your maps ready, but you can see here's, oh, don't click that. Here's that Melita or Malta. They sail up to Syracuse, which is at the bottom of Sicily. And then they sail to the boot tip of the boot at Rhegium, and then to Puteoli, and then to Rome. So I'm going to stop this share. And I'm going to do this so that I can draw it on the map. All right. And so they sail to Syracuse. Right. Can you guys see the map that I'm drawing?
Uh-huh.
Not asking you, Alice. Can you guys see the map? Yeah?
Yes.
All right. And then they sail up to Rhegium. At the boot tip, I'm going to put an R there. Kind of a narrow little passage to go through, isn't it? And then they sail up to Puteoli. And then they're going to go to Rome. So they get to Puteoli, and they're going to go to Rome. This is what we've been waiting on, isn't it? Getting to Rome. This is kind of a cool thing. We're getting really close. We're getting really close. We're getting close to Rome, and we're getting close to the end of the book. So I asked that question earlier. What is the point of the book of Acts? What is the book of Acts about? What's one of your answers?
Paul spreading the gospel. Paul spreading the gospel.
Encouraging
spread the gospel.
us to spread the gospel.
I think
Yeah.
kind of like what Leila said.
People
It's
learning
supposed-
the gospel.
It's kind of like
Hey, God.
like it's supposed to teach you and inspire you to preach the gospel.
I think that it's teaching you to repent.
Yeah.
I think
That's a good one. Yeah, Jack?
I think that it shows that you can that anyone can learn.
That anyone can learn? Yeah.
I think it kind of shows a lot of hard things happened to Paul and other people, but in the end, everybody was happy.
A lot of hard things happen, but in the end, you can be happy. Yeah.
Mr. Dan, I think it shows like Paul had a lot of faith in God.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it shows that even if hard things happen, you need to trust in God and He will save you.
though maybe not in the way you expect.
Yeah,
I
right.
also think it's like an inspiration story. It does seem very inspirational.
Yeah, isn't it? These are great answers. These are great answers. You should ask your mom and dad, see if they come up with good answers too.
And
I think that's really good.
How
And
the
so we'll think about this. We'll think about this because when we finish the book, we can say, I wonder what the ending is about. All right, somebody had a question. What was that?
Mr. Dan,
Mhm.
and like how Paul had bravery.
Yeah. Oh boy, did he have bravery. I don't have as
Oh,
much bravery as him as sometimes. All right. Well, I hope that you guys had fun drawing some shipwreck stuff. Do you have any more questions before we close?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, I will see you guys later. Thanks a bunch.
Hey, thanks, Mr. Dan.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
Dan.
Thank you.